are the strategies that help you talk to the young people in your world. Let's start with knowing when to begin the talks. So we're going to break this down into 5 components that each on their own are helpful markers of readiness. The first is if the child uses smartphones, devices, or internet access without adult supervision. It's important to note here that parents should make the time to be familiar with the capabilities of the device that their children have access to, the kinds of access or restrictions that it has, and working with the young people to establish some agreements. Kids today are getting iPhones in kindergarten, or they're spending time tucked away in their rooms, online gaming, or on social media. So this marker alone prompts many to realize that they need to start these talks yesterday. If a child attends school, childcare, or has play dates outside of the home, these instances offer opportunities for children to experience sexually explicit media or messaging, even if you've restricted them from device usage at home. If they consume mainstream media, the truth is that television, movies, commercials, music, print advertisements that children encounter often send more sexually suggestive, confusing, and inequitable messages over time about gender, bodies, violence, and sex than a single exposure to porn ever does. So without talks that support media literacy and that specifically acknowledge sexualized content, children aren't developing a critical lens and are more vulnerable when unsafe content is involved. If there are older tweens or teens in their sphere, this is an access point that's relevant to younger children. I commonly hear via coaching with parents that their children were exposed to content while away from the home or while being in the company of older youth or family members close to them. This isn't about just cutting these relationships off, but being aware of age and developmental stage differences and power dynamics, and being willing to proactively discuss topics that can come up in the company of older youth and young adults. And if a young person is asking questions related to bodies and sex, the opportunity is there to share knowledge about sexual content that they could see online, which prepares them relevant to their curiosities and makes clear that you are a trusted adult that they can turn to. So when is the right time? There truly is no one particular age. If you're wondering if you should talk with your kids about porn, it's likely time. Other relevant markers worth noting are if your child is experiencing puberty, and if you've not had the talks, now's definitely the time. If they've experienced sexual trauma, then it's a time that you want to talk and make sure you introduce concepts around porn and sexually explicit media. The earlier that you start the conversations, the more preventative the talks become. And yes, children who are on the autism spectrum or who have a neurodiversity, physical or developmental disabilities, absolutely all need to have sexual health talks and education related to sexually explicit media and sexual health in general. They can be more vulnerable to being exposed to content by others or coming across it unintentionally. With no context, it can be unclear to them how they should interpret and react. So be sure not to infantilize children of diverse abilities. So let's talk about methods. How do we start the talks about porn?